Hey, good afternoon. I'm James Ging with KPP Energy, and thought I'd take a second just to let you know who we are. I don't get a chance to do that very often because or talk to a different group. So we are a joint action agency. They call us a quasi municipality. We do work with Hillsboro and 23 other members. They're our members. They're not our owners. We work for Hillsboro and we work for those 23 other members on their behalf. And then we aid and navigate the power market for them by providing generation and the transmission to get power from a resource to the city. All right, enough about KPP. So as you may know, we have a project going to happen here, and we're all very excited about it. We're going to install a 1 megawatt solar array at the city of Hillsboro. Altogether, we're installing 18.5 megawatts, and there's going to be 7 total projects. A little bit about the timeline. We started this back in July 10th of 2023. We submitted a letter to the USDA about our concept. The project started out with us and our sister agency in Kansas called Kansas Municipal Energy Agency, and it's going to be a $100 million project. Their portion of the project fell through. Ours continued on. We were going to install we were going to install 20 megawatts of solar. We had a couple of locations that fell off. Just we couldn't work out property issues and connection issues. So we're down to seven projects totaling 18 megawatts. So we get to July 1st of this year, almost a year later. We've now met all the requirements of USDA. And if you can imagine, being a governmental agency, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. I won't say that they're bad hoops to jump through, but I mean, we did things like archaeological digs on all the sites, where we had archaeologists in, make sure there were no artifacts, no museum-worthy artifacts were found, but some things were found. All that stuff had to be reported on. All the environmental considerations had to be made. So July 1st, we did meet all those. August 8th, we had to submit a community benefit plan. So that means that we're going to be in the community. If we get this USDA money, we got to be in the community, engaged, do educational tours, talk to the high school, several things, maybe even possibly some job creation and training for the workers. We get to September 10th and we get the all clear on all the environmental. So we've been doing all this work all along, and we just now get to September, almost a year and a half later, and we finally get the all clear on all the environmentals. All the tribes were noticed. All the tribes said, okay, we're good with your project. And then on September 18th, we got a notice of approval from the USDA. And then on September 25th, the White House made a public notice in Chippewa, Wisconsin, of all places, that KPP was awarded this money. I don't know why Chippewa, Wisconsin. Must be a battleground or something up there. I'm not sure. So why did we pick Hillsboro? Well, number one, Hillsboro was willing to work with us and entertain our project. Number two, KPP is in a position for its members. We need to start adding capacity. We just retired a 59 megawatt coal contract with the Jeffrey Energy Center. And as load has grown, we've come to need some capacity. So we said, why not solar? We can put it in our communities, and then they can reap the benefits of that, hopefully. There was a funding opportunity through the USDA PACE program that made the project worth it. And then the community welcomed us and was more than willing to move forward. Benefits that I always get asked, what's the benefits to Hillsboro? Well, I think that this unit behind your meter means the city of Hillsboro gets to consume every electron that's made from it, which is good. So that's also going to offset any future load growth. So I know Hillsboro doesn't have this issue, but some communities do, where I have one community that's adding a 300 kVA transformer for the co-op grain elevator, and it's going to surpass their connection to the electric grid. So what are they going to have to do? They're going to spend several $1 million to upgrade that substation, where this will help offset some of those projects. And for Hillsboro, the same. If you were bumping up against your capacity restrictions, you would have that benefit. And then also it helps support any green initiatives the community may have. I don't know what pressures you have for green energy, but there will be green RECs available from them. And I know that's important to some business folks in town, manufacturers specifically. So what are our next steps? Well, as I said, we got that public notice, and we were told that after that public notice, we would have 10 days that we would get the letter of basically the terms of the loan, the USDA loan. Well, 10 days from September 18th is come and gone. So I'm thinking it's 10 days from the September 25th. And then I don't know if that's 10 working days or 10 days. So by my calculations, we should receive those letters of those terms and conditions here in the next day or two, which is very timely. We have a board meeting coming up on Thursday. So once we get those terms and conditions, we only have 3 days to react. So to either accept or deny. Then after we get that USDA loan, then we will set up our financing for the project. So you're getting a loan, why do you have to set up financing? Well, this is a $49 million project in total, and we're getting a $35 million loan from PACE, from USDA. But you don't get that money until it is commercial and ready for operation. So we got a year of money we got to spend in that amount of time, so we have to have coverage for that. So we're going to issue some bonds, private placement bonds for this entire portion of the project. So the project's $49 million, but you only asked for $35 million. Why'd you do that, James? Well, because we have to have 25%. We have to have 25% matching funds for that. So that puts us about 26%. Next, once we get those terms and conditions approved and our financing in place, we'll begin to be able to select contractors and start building the interconnections to the distribution system. We'll also then start our community benefit process, where we'll be engaged in the community, start setting up some tours. Another part of that community benefit plan is that we will make sure that prevailing wages are paid, and we'll use as local vendors as possible. So, our contractors will then source that material as local as they possibly can. Then after that, we'll implement this into our resource plan. We're still figuring out how to do that. We think we can use it as a load modifier versus a designated network resource, which is, I know that may not mean much to you, but it's more benefit to KPP we see as a load modifier, basically reducing the load by 1 megawatt versus adding 16% reserve margin. Enough of the nerdy talk. Let's see. The economics behind this, I mentioned that was a $49 million project. We get this USDA loan, which is $35 million. Why does this make this project viable? We get a 20% loan forgiveness from USDA. So that's worth about $7 million to the project. Also, with recent legislation, cities and quasi-cities such as us can now apply for investment tax credits, which is about a 40% savings to KPP and its members. So in all, with the $7 million USDA loan forgiveness, and the 40% tax credits, which is about 17 million. We'll be able to knock about $28 million off of a $49 million project. So that's where the economics come in place. If any one of those fall through, our project does not make economical sense. I did some back of the napkin calculation. For 18 megawatts at $49 million, that's about $15 a megawatt hour. That is bad business right there. But with the loan forgiveness, that brings that down to about $6.50 per megawatt. Now that's about what we can sign a PPA for any generator out there is between $6 to $7 right now. So that's what makes this project make financial sense for its members. But without those incentives, unfortunately, it's not a very good business project for us. Any questions? In Hillsboro, it's going to be out by the lagoons. Yep. We're also going to do this in Marion as well. We're going to do the same project in Marion. It's 7. Yep. Clay Center, Hillsboro, Marion. I put myself on the spot. Now I got a name off. Winfield, Wellington. I'm up to 5. Greensburg. Ellenwood, Kansas. I did it.
We're at 1 megawatt.
Yep.
Contextualize 1 megawatt. How many homes is that, or what?
Yeah. So I figure a home. When I doing distribution systems and stuff, I figure a home is about 5 kW. So 1 megawatt is 1,000 kW. So that's about 200 homes that it should serve in the community. The size is about 7 acres. 1 megawatt's in about 7 acres. So as far as the land use, it's not it uses a lot of land. It uses a lot of land, and they will track from the east to the west to maximize all the sun that it can receive. So.
With the energy created, base level?
Yep. Yes.
So it's not like the wind farm where it's
that's correct.
Going
yeah.
all over.
Now I have to caveat that with we are a pool, so all of our members work together. I mean, so Hillsboro's helping to pay for this resource along with the other 23 other members too. So it's kind of a collective effort. You know? But what I like about it is those electrons as an electrical engineer, I kind of like to follow the electrons. Those are actually going to serve your residents. Back used to be able to buy a wind contract, or you could go to the city. I don't know that they do this anymore. And you could say, I want all my power to be wind power. And the city would say, okay, I'm going to charge you an extra penny. That wind power was coming from Nebraska, Oklahoma, or whatever. You didn't know where that was coming from. But yes, sir.
So you got my power. So what does that do to the bill?
Yeah. So Hillsboro is a member of the Kansas Power Pool, and we all pay the same bills, if you will. How does that reflect? Well, we're going to have to install capacity, and this is the least cost capacity that we could install at this time. So we're offsetting higher price capacity that all of our members are going to have to pay in the future. So I'd like to say it's a hedge to more expensive capacity. It's a hedge to, say, gas costs in the future, and it's helping us push those more expensive costs down the line. Does that help? I was asked to compare a solar array to a wind turbine, and although wind turbines are rotating mass, and which has their place, but this past August when it was 104 out, there was not a breeze, right? That's when we need the power the most. I mean, when we're watching, so I get all the notices from the transmission grid, and then we have to dispatch units accordingly, our fossil units and stuff. And we were constantly in a state of yo-yoing those units because we were chasing wind. We call it chasing wind. When the wind falls off, we bring up those other units. That was a constant battle this summer, worse than what we've seen it before. But when it's 104 out, the sun's usually shining, and that's when we need this kind of power. I won't say it's the answer to everything, the be all end all, but it's nice. It's a nice resource to add to our portfolio.